I think it's safe to say that this whole thing did not go as planned. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate your continued support, and I hope that you are subscribed as well, especially if you are on Rumble, because we do want to support platforms that support free speech. So a couple of days ago, we had the honor and the privilege of seeing the dynamic and explosive combination of Trump versus CNN on the same stage. And I honestly think that the idea behind this, or what this was being promoted as, was for CNN to appear nonpartisan, to gain back some of their credibility, and to try and appear as though they're not entirely left-leaning and that they are interested in hearing from both sides of the aisle. Also, to appear as though they are interested in pushing fairness in the upcoming election, and perhaps to boost ratings, because as we know, CNN only has about 12 viewers left on their platform. All of their programs have been tanking. They have been hemorrhaging viewers. And I know that the left believes that this is solely because Trump spent 4 years calling CNN fake news, and that everybody abandoned this platform simply because of what he was saying and not because of what they were saying. They have yet to acknowledge any accountability in the fact that they refuse to be honest about anything, and that they have been caught in so many lies at this point that there is really truly no reason for anybody to trust them. There were several clips that went viral, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen most of them by now. I didn't watch the entire town hall. I really truly had no interest in it, but the clips that I have seen, I think, are a pretty strong indicator about how the entire thing went. And I think a lot of us, I think I could probably speak for most people in saying, we're kind of torn about how this went, because we do want to be talking about issues that matter. We do want to know what the plan is for the future, because so many of us feel so unsure about what the future looks like, particularly under the Biden administration. So we do want to hear those words of encouragement for people that are running for the presidency in 2024, keeping with the true nature of pretty much all of the mainstream media. Kaitlin Collins demonstrated absolutely no interest in talking about the things that actually matter to everyday people. She didn't want to talk about the economy. She didn't want to talk about the border. She didn't want to talk about inflation. She didn't want to talk about national security. She didn't want to talk about any of these things. She wanted to just hammer down on the talking points that the left has relied heavily on to discredit Trump, to make him look like a terrible person, to make him look like an unfit leader, to make him look like somebody that is going to incite violence and retaliation in this country and just cause this total upheaval. So that was all they were interested in. And I honestly think part of the goal as well was to try and get these clips that they could use against him in the upcoming presidential race, to get him talking about January 6th and get him talking about Ukraine, so that they had new material to talk about things that they just are solely focused on, the only things that they have in their arsenal when it comes to the presidential race. So of course, one of the first clips that I saw was where Kaitlin Collins was asking Trump about January 6th and why he didn't react sooner to what happened, and again driving this narrative that he didn't care that there were people breaking into the Capitol building and that he incited it. And Trump was so prepared for this question. It's like we know exactly what these people are thinking, what they're going to say, what their talking points are going to be. He actually happened to have a stack of papers with him to address this issue.
You said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell your supporters to come to Washington. You tweeted about it, about that speech that happened on the rally.
Am I allowed to say that?
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out. So if you look at, on January 5th, the day before, I said, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Stay peaceful. This was the day before, and this was in the form of Twitter. Now I use Truth Social. I think it's far superior, okay? I hope everybody's on Truth. If you look January 6th, just at before 2:30, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. This is right after, as it was happening. But what happened is they took it down I don't know why. I think they took it down because it was so good. They didn't like it being up there. I am asking, and we didn't know until I got it back, because now I have 90 million people waiting for me to go back, but I'm on truth and I'm staying on truth. Listen, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violation. We want no violation. We want no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. That was at 2:30. That was very early.
Mr. President, I looked at the same timeline that you did.
No, I know, but you didn't report that. You know why? Because it was taken down.
We did report it. I was reporting that
thing. It was taken down and it wasn't.
But when it was...
She wants to know why it took 3 hours for him to respond, despite the fact that he repeatedly said, go peacefully, we are peaceful, we're the party of law and order, don't behave violently. What I want to know is why it took 3 years to get the full video footage of what actually happened and to get the extended cuts of the things that these people intentionally left out to push a narrative. That is what I am far more concerned about, because I don't know that I want people in charge that are going to intentionally splice up evidence to drive a narrative that is completely untrue and to criminally charge people with things they are not guilty of. And then, of course, she had to bring up the recent situation with E. Jean Carroll and the rulings on that particular case.
A Manhattan jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this. But what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out and they went up. Okay. I think I'm the only person in history who had a charge like that. And usually you leave office, you say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to back home. I'm back home to my family and everything. I'm going to be resigned. My poll numbers went up, and they went up with the other fake charge, too. Because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, very nice man. She called him an ape. Happens to be African-American. Called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog, or her cat, was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow to put that in. All of these things. But with her, they can put in anything. Access.
First, he's absolutely right that every time they try to charge him with something, and the more that it looks politically motivated, the more his poll numbers go up. And it's not because we don't care about law and order. It's not because that we believe nobody is above the law, and it's not that we don't care about allegations of sexual assault. But when you have a political party that uses everything that they can to charge this man with things that they themselves are guilty of doing, the more politically motivated it looks, and people do not want to live in a country where the justice system is driven by politics and not by crime. Secondly, the credibility of this woman is severely in question. There was that clip where she was on with Anderson Cooper a few years ago saying that, she thinks that most people think rape is sexy. There was this clip where she was doing an interview just after this ruling came down with her attorney, and her attorney admitted that E. Jean Carroll helped get this law passed to allow people that have had a sexual assault that's older than 20 years to bring litigation against it, and they have this 1-year window to press charges and to bring it forward for those charges.
And on something that I think is really important in all of this, and it's the fact that New York passed this law, the Adult Survivors Act. They passed it just a few years ago. Were it not for that law, you never would have been able to bring this case. And I just think it speaks to the importance for a lot of other survivors.
Exactly. I would never have this window, this year, of having the ability to bring a lawsuit for rape. Robbie can explain it better.
Well, E. Jean actually helped to get that law passed. It passed last year. We filed, it was Thanksgiving Day, it was the first day you could sue. We filed just after midnight on Thanksgiving. And
then, of course, they got into this back and forth about Ukraine. And I really, truly think Kaitlin Collins was trying to get this viral moment. She wanted to get him on record, picking a side against, so they could have this clip to use it against him in the presidential race.
You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that, because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO.
When I
sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I want Europe.
What's happening in Ukraine, Mr.
I want Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
When it comes to
I think he answered perfectly. We just need this to end. We need it to stop. We need people to stop dying, and we need to stop hemorrhaging money and just throwing it over there like we've got money to spare, which we don't. It is not our responsibility to fund these people. And I know that, people are going to say it's a double standard in how we felt about Afghanistan. But again, the withdrawal that was supposed to happen there was to keep a small military presence, to keep the Taliban in check so that people could continue to live relatively freely, as opposed to just funneling tons of our money and resources into this war that we don't have and that we are not responsible for. And something that Trump stood for in his presidency was not allowing the US to be the one constantly footing the bill for everybody else's problems. He wanted other countries to, as the left likes to say, pay their fair share. It is not our job to constantly be throwing cash at people every time that there's a problem, because we don't have the resources to do that. Biden, on the other hand, wants to give everything to everybody except people in the US. He gave our military base and our military equipment to the Taliban. He's giving all of our oil reserves to China. And he's giving, weapons and military equipment to the Ukraine, but he doesn't want to do anything about our own southern border. It's complete opposite priorities, and people want to know again that America comes first. Of course, there's this clip that everybody loves because it's Trump.
It's simple. You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Can you answer why you held on to the documents?
I was negotiating and we were talking.
If you don't want to be called a nasty person, don't behave like a nasty person. It was your job to bring him to the stage and ask him questions that are relevant to the issues that people are facing, to get his position on things, to get his plan for the future, to have him present his presidential candidacy to the American people, including your viewers. But Kaitlin Collins got on there and decided that she wanted to make Trump look as bad as possible. She wanted to fight with him. She wanted to catch him in these combative moments. She did not want him to be able to appear as a reasonable person at all. But instead, she's the one that looked insane. She's the one that looked like a child throwing a tantrum, and she is the one who represented the left in a way that they don't want to be represented. Whatever it was that they were trying to accomplish with this absolutely failed. At least, if they were trying to find some benefit for themselves, they absolutely failed on this. And even AOC tweeted, she was freaking out saying, they've lost total control of this town hall. And by their definition, they have, because they want to be able to control the conversation. They want to be able to put these talking points out there and force people down a particular road of conversation so that they can grab these viral clips. And Trump, they absolutely cannot do that with him. They can ask whatever questions they want. He is going to say the things that need to be said, regardless of what you want him to say. And CNN continues to demonstrate how completely disconnected they are from the American people. And I love the fact that we have Elon Musk running Twitter now, where we really can see both sides of the issue, where we really can make informed decisions, where we are truly free to have productive dialogue and analyze information from both sides and make informed decisions. And these are things that CNN is truly afraid of, because they want to be able to say whatever it is that they want to say, and they don't want us to be able to access information that would debunk that. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below, or just to help me with the algorithm, leave an emoji in the comments below. Also, you are welcome to tip the channel if you feel like supporting my channel in that way. All of these things help me to grow and help me to reach more people that value logic, reason, and sanity. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.